Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. A truthful exploration of Christophe St. John's life is the focus of documentary on Young and Restless starring February 3, 2019. Daytime was rocked by the death of beloved The Young and the Restless vet Christophe St. John. The actor had been a mainstay on the CBS soap from 1991 until his last episode aired on February 6 that same year, and since then, his presence as Neil has been missed. Along with much success, St. John dealt with many hardships, including the devastating death of his son Julian in 2014, and now his story is about to be told. Our sister site, Deadline, has learned exclusively that Randy J. Goodwin's production company, Fallen Giant Films, will be creating a new documentary, directed by Bobby Rozak, surrounding St. John's life and legacy. Viewers will be taken on a journey through the Daytime Emmy and NAACP Image Award winner's life, which began as a child actor, and will deliver a raw and intimate portrait of St. John, from success to his mental health struggles and losses. The documentary will give an inside look into the actor who was loved by his family, castmates, and fans. Christophe was more than just an incredibly talented actor. He was one of my closest friends, my brother. This documentary is both a heartfelt tribute and a truthful exploration of the amazing, complex person he was. Goodwin shared with the outlet, with Bobby Rozak directing. We're confident this story will be portrayed with the emotional honesty and artistic vision Christophe deserves. Mia St. John, the actor's ex-wife and the mother of their son Julian, will also contribute. Fans can expect to see the project in early 2026. And more details will be released about a scripted biopic on his life that is currently in the developmental stages. For nearly 3 decades, Christophe St. John was a fixture on daytime television, a star whose portrayal of Neil Winters on The Young and the Restless left an indelible mark on the soap genre and the hearts of viewers everywhere. Now, his life, filled with brilliance, heartache, triumph, and tragedy, is being given the attention it deserves in a new documentary. Billed not as a glossy tribute but as what its creators call a truthful exploration of the man behind the legend. This documentary, currently in production and set for release later this year, aims to go beyond the familiar accolades and TV moments. It seeks to reveal Christophe St. John's journey in all its honesty, from the pressures of being a young black actor in Hollywood to the private battles he faced behind the scenes, including unimaginable loss, mental health struggles, and a spirit that fought harder than anyone could have imagined. That it promises not just celebration, but understanding. And for those who loved him as Neil Winters, as a co-star, as a father, or as a friend, this project is long overdue. Let's take a deep dive into the making of the film, what it will cover, and why this could be one of the most powerful reckoning daytime television has ever had with one of its brightest and most human stars. The legacy of Neil Winters. When Christophe St. John debuted as Neil Winters in 1991, daytime changed. Here was a smart, dynamic, successful black man, not cast as a caricature or in the margins, but as a full-fledged lead. Over the years, St. John helped build Neil into one of the most iconic characters in Young and Restless history, a loyal friend, a savvy businessman, a devoted father, a flawed man who made mistakes but always sought redemption. Through his relationships with Drusilla, Victoria, Malcolm, Lily, and Devon, Christophe didn't just perform, he transformed. Fans didn't just watch Neil's journey, they felt it. He brought authenticity to every line, subtlety to every scene, and heart to every storyline. He won 2 daytime Emmys. He earned the respect of peers, but he also bore a burden, one that even his most passionate admirers may not have fully seen. A truthful exploration. What that means. The documentary's executive producers say the project was born out of necessity, a way to honor Christophe not by sanitizing his struggles but by embracing them. The title, Still Under Wraps, is being crafted around the idea that truth is the ultimate form of love. The easy thing would have been to make a highlight reel, said co-director Jada Clifton. But Christophe deserves more than that. His life was complicated, beautiful, heartbreaking, and he gave so much to so many while often suffering in silence. This documentary is our attempt to see all of him. The film will explore his early rise to fame as a child actor in Roots, The Next Generations, and The Bad News Bears, his groundbreaking casting on Y&R, and the behind-the-scenes cultural implications, personal struggles with mental health, and his son Julian's tragic passing, as advocacy for better mental health resources, especially in the black community, his enduring friendships with co-stars like Victoria, Roel Drusilla, and Britton James, Devon, his complicated final years, and the heartbreak of his death in 2019. Through interviews, never-before-seen home footage, and deeply personal stories, the film aims to offer a portrait that is raw, nuanced, and ultimately healing. Victoria Roel speaks. One of the most powerful voices in the film will undoubtedly be that of Victoria Roel, Christophe's longtime scene partner and friend. The two were soap royalty during the 90s and early 2000s, with their on-screen chemistry as Neil and Drusilla often being cited as among the best in daytime history. Roel, who has remained outspoken about racial disparities in the soap industry, says she's using this documentary to speak freely, not just about the triumphs they shared but the systemic limitations they had to fight against. Christoph was more than a colleague. He was my creative brother, she says in an emotional interview snippet. We carried the weight of representation, and that weight is still heavy. He carried it with grace, but also with pain. This story has to be told. Christoph's children, carrying his torch. Christoph St. John was a father before anything else, and no aspect of his story is more important or more gut-wrenching than the bond he shared with his children. Particularly Julian St. John, who struggled with mental illness before his tragic death by suicide in 2014. The documentary doesn't shy away from this loss. Instead, it uses it as a lens to explore Christoph's own spiral, how grief consumed him, how he battled to stay afloat, and how he continued to show up for his younger daughter. Lola. In one early clip, Lola describes her father as a hero who couldn't save everyone but always tried. The documentary will feature interviews with both Lola and Mia St. John, Christoph's ex-wife, and Julian's mother, who have continued Christoph's advocacy work, raising awareness about suicide prevention and the need for mental health reform. The cast of Young and Restless reflects. Several of Christoph's former co-stars are featured prominently, sharing behind-the-scenes stories and candid reflections. Among them, Britton James Devon. He taught me how to act, how to breathe in a scene. He gave me my confidence. Without Christoph, I'm not the man I am today. Shamar Moore Malcolm. He was my brother. He was my safety net. When he smiled, you smiled back, but man, you never knew the whole weight he was carrying. Eric Breeden Victor. Christoph was pure light, a beautiful man, but the business, it can take its toll on even the strongest souls. These testimonials don't just eulogize Christoph, they contextualize him. They speak of a man who, even while drowning, managed to lift others up. A broader conversation. What makes this documentary so vital isn't just its subject, it's its mission. The filmmakers are using Christoph's life to ignite a broader conversation about the pressure of being a black leading man in a historically white genre. The often overlooked mental health crises within entertainment, the dangerous stigma around depression, especially among black men, the need for change in both the industry and the systems meant to support artists. A portion of proceeds from the documentary will go to foundations focused on youth suicide prevention and mental health awareness, including the L. Sabre Eves Potter Foundation and Mental Health America. A love letter and a call to action. The documentary is expected to premiere at a major film festival this fall, with a streaming release to follow. But more than a release date, the creators hope viewers walk away with something more permanent. Perspective. This is a love letter, co-producer Stephen Brooks says, but it's also a call to action. If we're going to honor Christoph's memory, we have to do better by our artists, by our children, by each other. Because Christoph St. John didn't just belong to the young and the restless. He belonged to all of us, as a symbol, as a storyteller, as a man brave enough to bare his soul. And now, finally, we get to see him, fully, truthfully, beautifully. Would you like the final 1,000 to 1,200 words? To explore the specific timeline and behind-the-scenes moments leading to the film's production, fan reactions, and why Christoph's legacy still resonates across generations. Or an emotional rewatch of Neil Winter's most iconic moments now seen in a new light.